Welcome to Studio 5. We've got lots to share this week. The real-life story of a British stockbroker who helps to rescue hundreds of children. A television series based on the work of New York Times bestseller Karen Kingsbury. And a documentary honoring the real-life heroes of the 100th Bomb Group. On top of all that, we're counting down this week's top 5 stories in the world of uplifting entertainment. Let's get started.
At number 5.
First time you take off, you gotta push the I believe button.
It's a Studio 5 first look at the Blue Angels, an immersive documentary taking audiences soaring inside the Navy's elite flight demonstration squadron.
This year, we're bringing 5 new people into this team.
Something I never thought was actually gonna happen.
It's 1 in a million.
We only have 3 months to get to a point where we can take it on the road.
It can be frustrating at times. The challenge is to get the newbies up to speed.
Filmed for IMAX, you'll find yourself in the cockpit for a first-hand view when this film releases May 23rd.
To make 6 jets fly as one, that's the Blue Angel magic.
At number 4.
Magnify the Lord with me.
We pause to honor and remember a great voice in the world of gospel music.
We had a little music room at my folks' house, and he would play the piano, and he said, "Oh, this song is nothing," and he took it, and he threw it in the trash. And I said, "Andre, this is a good song, watch and see."
Twin sister of legendary Andre Crouch, singer, songwriter, percussionist, and pastor Sandra Crouch, has died at age 81.
Oh, Lord, I'm glad I found you. Hold on, I really need you.
A musical talent in her own right, Sandra won a Grammy for Best Soul Gospel Performance in 1984 for her album We Sing Praises.
And those are the first 2 stories in this week's countdown. Now to a Studio 5 look at the film One Life. It's the true story of Sir Nicholas Winton, who rescued more than 600 children from the impending grip of Nazis. Anthony Hopkins stars in this film. We got the chance to sit down with the film's director and 2 of its other cast members.
Now, an extraordinary story about a man who rescued refugees at the mercy of Hitler's invasion.
He was mortified knowing that they would all go to concentration camps. So he decided, heroically, without any fanfare, to rescue as many as he could.
James, when did you first discover Nicholas Winton's story?
My second ever job in the industry was as a trainee researcher on That's Life, on the very program, the BBC show that eventually brought Nicky Winton's story to the world.
It was this old man who had saved my life and that of hundreds of others in the Second World War.
And your first thoughts upon seeing it that first time, what did you think?
The power of human emotion, and also just honestly the power of human spirit.
What do you think it is that motivated Nicholas? What drove him?
He saw children that needed help, needed saving. He saw something that needed doing. But instead of going, the problem's too big for any one individual to solve, he started off and did what he could. Hence the title, from the saying from the Talmud, you save one life, you save the world.
I have seen this, and I cannot unsee it. And because I may be able to do something about it, I must.
The casting, incredible. What was it like? How did you know that you wanted Sir Anthony Hopkins and the rest of the cast? How did that all play out?
The first thing with Sir Anthony Hopkins was that he was the condition set by Nicky Winton's daughter for giving up the rights of the film.
Do you ever think about the children and what happened to them?
And Helena has such an indomitable spirit. She was just perfect to play the ally, the door kicker in 1930s London that she does so well.
Nicky, you must know we cannot save them all. You have to forgive yourself that.
Helena, how would you describe the relationship, the mother-son relationship, if you will, between Babby and Nicholas?
Well, for me, I found it one of the most unusual. I'd never come across a mother-son relationship that's quite so dynamic.
We're doing as much as we can.
It's rare when you actually get asked to do a script where you go like, oh, this could possibly, it means something and it could make a difference to people's lives.
Save one life, save the world.
What about this story and project attracted you? Why was this something you wanted to do?
I mean, there are very many reasons. I think the story in itself is obviously an incredible testament to the ability of human beings to just be incredibly good.
He kept a scrapbook, meticulously kept with all the names of the children.
How much do you feel we know about what happened, and how much do you think this is going to be an introduction to many people about this piece of history?
I met some Americans leaving Prague on the aircraft that we flew out on, saying to me that they just discovered the Holocaust. And I found that shocking. So if we introduce people to that bit of history and a crucial piece of our modern history, and we understand what that means for humanity and the lessons we should learn from it, then that's vital.
We are working to evacuate these children.
Humanity has the capacity to be incredibly good and incredibly brave and incredibly modest and kind. And it feels like a gift to remind people of that. So I just hope that as many people as possible see it.
He was extraordinary and he was effective and he made change and his heart was in the right place. And he really needs to be known just to help everybody else feel not totally in despair at this time when, frankly, there aren't enough heroes. It's not history, it's present.
Some people have talked about this as being a Holocaust movie. I like to think of it as being that and different in that it is uplifting. I hope that an audience will come out of the theatres feeling they've seen what one individual can do. They've seen the power of human survival.
Can I ask, is there anyone in the audience tonight who owes their life to Nicholas Winton? If so, could you stand up, please?
One Life opened in the top 10 at the box office, pulling in nearly $2 million from nearly 1,000 screens, and it's still playing right now in theaters nationwide.
Still ahead.
I'm a little worried about Carrie and Tim. They don't look at each other the same way anymore.
Something's bothering you. I have been struggling.
It's the new series called The Baxters.
1, 2, 3, Baxter!
We have a Studio 5 first look at the series with some of the cast and crew, including Roma Downey.
We're not shying away from the real problems that show up in people's lives. But what's different about the Baxters is that we're seeing how they solve these problems through the lens of people who believe in God.
At number 3.
Something strange in your neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters!
A cinematic classic makes a return with surprising success.
We might be looking at a second ice age.
Who you gonna call? Again? Yep. The 5th film in the franchise, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, beat expectations and less than enthused reviews to take the top spot at the weekend movie box office, earning $45.2 million.
At number 2.
Action! I have a confession to make.
Oh, really? What's that?
I don't ride horses.
Really? You could have fooled me.
Breaking entertainment news. We're inching closer to a release of the film Reagan, starring Dennis Quaid. Its director is eyeing August or September.
I'm a city girl, Ronnie. Can I call you Ronnie?
Sounds pretty good coming from me.
I'm looking forward to this one, and I've heard you say this was your most challenging role. You play Ronald Reagan.
Yeah. Yes, well, yes.
I was hoping you'd give me the voice.
And that, a lot of people think that it's already come out, but it's because we did it, 3 years ago? Yeah. The movie is going to come out. I'm really proud of it. And he was my favorite president, and the first one I really voted for. And so I had to overcome that to play him, because you want to get into who somebody was. And Reagan was, in a way, unknowable, even to those who were really close to him.
And cut. Gene, beautiful. Cut.
With that, we've got just one more story to share in this week's countdown. Easter weekend is ahead, and we have a Studio 5 first look at the new series you may want to spend a little time watching with the entire family. The Baxters focuses on a family maneuvering the highs and lows of life, and the good and the bad. They're still praying.
1, 2, 3,
So, Roma, why this as a series? What made you want to do this?
Well, I was first introduced to the Karen Kingsbury best-selling book series. I couldn't put it down.
I'm a little worried about Carrie and Tim. They don't look at each other the same way anymore.
So I'm reading the Baxters and I'm thinking, this could be like Touched by an Angel, because while it's not dealing with angels, it is dealing with a family of faith and a family who have many challenges, but things in life that bring them to their knees. But this family, unlike other families, when they are brought to their knees, they pray.
Something's bothering you. I have been struggling.
Carrie.
I reached out to Karen Kingsbury. I said, Karen, would you ever consider allowing me the rights to option your book to bring it to TV? And she said, you don't know. This is an answer to a prayer.
I love that prayer is such a large character in this production, if you
honestly.
will.
And it makes you realize how rarely we see people of faith in TV shows. How rarely we get to see a church-going family, a God-honoring family, taking the time in a moment of crisis to say, let's stop and pray for our daughter. Let's pray for our son. And then they pray, and they pray in the name of Jesus.
Let's pray. Lord, we come to you tonight with hearts filled with concern and expectation.
One of the things I like about it is it shows that people of faith are still very much flawed. It's just how we work out those flaws.
That's right. No, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I think people hear a faith show and they go, oh, a lot of goody two-shoe. Goody two-shoe things.
I have built my whole world around you. Tim is in love with another woman. I keep going over it in my mind, and I have no idea how we got to this point.
But I loved stepping into this cast. I have a lovely young ensemble cast. But Kathy Lee Gifford did me a solid favor and stepped into a guest starring role for me. Her daughter, Cassidy Gifford, is also a character in the show.
I get you made a commitment to Tim. You don't know anything about commitment. You can't commit to anything.
What's it like to work together on a project?
It's so fun. Although we didn't do scenes together, actually. We have many times in the past, but on this particular project, we didn't, although I'd love to in the future. But we had fun. We always love being on a set together.
I got to watch a few episodes, really moved already. Your roles and why you wanted to do it.
So I play Reagan Decker. I moved from New York to Indiana, and I become friends with the Baxter family through church. And I start working, actually get offered a job at Carrie, the eldest Baxter's daughter's interior design studio. And then she ends up setting me up with Luke, her younger brother, and that is sort of how I get ingratiated into the Baxter.
Both of my scenes are with, in the two different episodes, are with Roma, and she's such a fine and instinctive actress, and so I'm an old friend that comes back to town, let's put it that way.
It fills our hearts to know that we can be here for you.
I wanted to be a part of this project, I think, because I really do think people are very, very hungry for something good right now. You know, it's so important to come home to something, and they come home to God instead of the actual just physical home.
That's a good way to put it, and it's really true.
I hope that it just blesses people and meets them in wherever they are, in terms if they're lonely or wherever it is, and it does give them hope.
Hope is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Cass, and I just hope that it could inspire them to get closer to God.
You cannot move beyond this guilt until you find the courage to allow yourself to just feel.
Roma and Karen together producing the show. Obviously, Karen wrote the material and she's incredible. But them going off of each other back and forth, they really made something special.
They're powerful in the Holy Spirit, and they're powerful in their knowledge of the Word, and they're powerful about their purpose.
If you ever need someone to talk to, you know I'm only a phone call away, right?
a show like The Baxters is a reminder that there's, as well as our families, there's the bigger community, the community of church, community of believers, community, of people to look out for each other. And, it is my hope that when your family is gathered together for Easter this year, that you curl up on the couch together. It's all you have to do. Turn the TV on and enjoy the Baxters series together.
Forgiveness happens once. Healing takes a lifetime.
You're my sister. You have always been there for me. I'm still scared, but you're not alone. We're your family.
And this new series, The Baxters, premieres on Prime Video beginning March 28th. With that, we need to take a quick break, but as we do, it's time to share this week's story in pictures. Here's your Studio 5 snapshot.
These are images from the new Netflix docuseries Testament. It's the story of Moses streaming now and includes perspectives from Christians, Jewish people, and Muslims. Creators and critics say while the series includes those different viewpoints, the perspective of historic Christianity is accurately represented. And these photos are this week's Studio 5 snapshot. At number 1. It's a look at C.S. Lewis's Prince Caspian, a fantasy story taking you into the world of Narnia, now playing at the World Stage Theater at the Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C.
How could a story with trees that fight and a lion that speak ever be told on stage? Now I know.
Noah and Nicole Stratton are the team behind this project.
We're here to talk about the second production here at the Museum of the Bible. To begin that, this is a bit of a family affair. You guys are husband and wife, and I know your son's in the production. How does this all work?
Yeah, so it really began with my wife's parents. They were the ones that started the ministry back in 1971. So the Academy of Arts, our ministry, and then from that it's grown in multiple levels of multi-facets of what we have now, of a college and conservatory, film program, a number of different things, so we're very grateful for that.
I think that's the philosophy that even growing up we knew that we were included in the ministry. It wasn't mom and dad's ministry and we were over here. We were a part of it and always included in some way, shape, or form.
This production is on stage until April 27th.
And that was a look at the #1 story in uplifting entertainment this week, and it wraps our countdown, but not the show. Welcome back to Studio 5. The Bloody 100th is a new documentary honoring the real-life heroes of the 100th Bomb Group. Steven Spielberg and actor Tom Hanks lend their voices to the project. We had a chance to speak with the film's director.
We were being confronted by very experienced and very well equipped and very well trained opposition. They were pros. We were rank amateurs.
The people we served with sacrificed everything. They called us the Bloody 100th.
When it comes to the Bloody 100th, who are these men? Who are they?
Well, I will tell you, most of them were very young when this happened. You were an old man if you were 25.
The people we served with, they were dedicated, they sacrificed, they had great courage. We shared heartbreak and hilarity. We saw our comrades go down and being killed, being wounded, become prisoners of war. And we developed a tremendous respect for each other.
What attracted you to this project as a story to tell? What was it?
I will admit to you that I didn't know much about the B-17 flyers at the time. I didn't know much about the bombers of World War II. And frankly, I don't know, I really thought, oh, they got in a plane, they went over, dropped some bombs, came back. I didn't realize what each mission entailed and how harrowing that was.
I remember that when we first crossed over the English Channel, I remember looking down and realizing that we were over enemy territory, and I had a lump in my throat. I was nervous.
skin of the plane is not steel, it's aluminum. So that meant flak just blew holes in the plane.
That was my first time to be exposed to very heavy anti-aircraft fire, and it was frightening.
These men don't forget these missions. You know, they may forget some of the mundane things that happen on a given Tuesday if they're not flying that particular day, but they do not forget those missions.
Bomber groups bled and died in staggering numbers in air combat. One of these groups suffered so many casualties, it became known as the Bloody Hundred.
Having Tom voice it was amazing. I mean, his voice is unbelievably authentic and genuine, and the gravitas he brings to a voiceover is wonderful. And I was very happy that he was part of it. I was very happy that Steven Spielberg gave an interview as well, because his knowledge of World War II is expansive.
You have to give all the credit to the men and the women that sacrificed their lives and basically saved the world from fascism.
Why is it important for us to know this history, especially now, you think?
The story of World War II overall is a story that should always be told, because it was an unbelievable conflict and it affected the entire world. This story, the Bloody Hundredth, is one small aspect of that. But I think by telling that one small aspect of what these men went through, these 20-year-old men, 21-year-old men, that you'll get a better understanding of all the things that went through World War II, and hopefully we don't repeat it.
The freedoms that we enjoy did not come about by accident. They were bought and paid for by my generation and the generations that preceded us.
The Bloody Hundredth is streaming right now on Apple TV. Welcome back to Studio 5. Music helps us to bring you this show each and every week, and this week's soundtrack comes from Elevation Rhythm. Take a listen and you'll hear why Wind of Love is what's playing in my ear this week. That was Joel Barnes joining Elevation Rhythm, Wind of Love. On that musical note, we are just about out of time for this week's edition of Studio 5. So let's take a quick look at what we're working on come next week.
You've seen the preview of Prince Caspian in today's Top 5. It was the #1 story. Now in a Studio 5 special report, we're taking a deeper, expanded look at the theater adaptation.
I will come again.
Sitting down with several members of the cast and crew.
This is the 4 Pevensey children, Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy, and they've had their great adventures in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Now they've come back to England. They're back to being children again. Then it comes to the 4 Pevenseys, and they're there, and they get sucked back out of the train station. They're about to go off to school, get sucked back into Narnia, and have a great adventure of helping Prince Caspian get back on the throne.
Plus, get a behind-the-scenes look at how these massive puppets come to life.
Be sure and join us for that story and so much more come next week. This week, we've got just a few minutes left in our show. We want to give that to Roma Downey, who's at the heart of the new series, The Baxters.
You know, I hope it blesses people. That's my prayer into it. So for any of your viewers out there that are looking for a good show that they can watch with their grandparents and their kids, you know, it doesn't shy away. There's important subjects, but it'll give you a different way to be able to discuss those things within your family too. And I hope that seeing how the Baxters ultimately work through these things maybe will inspire you and your family to lovingly come to some answers of healing in your own life.
Roma Downey, thank you. That's a great final word for this edition of Studio 5 and for this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone around you and then come on back. See where Studio 5 takes you next week. Bye-bye. Happy Resurrection Sunday.